here and we got a lower low here. That's three lower lows, but then this low here is incongruent into this summary of entries, if that makes sense, of
Mm,
lows. So it's like it's a make or break point. And as a new trader, what would trip me up is I would think we're at demand, it's time to sell, but it's not my job to tell the market what to do because all the time frames have to work together. So now we drop it down from the weekly chart to the daily chart, and then after we'll go into the 4 hour chart for your intraday time frames. On even the daily chart is giving you the same knowledge the weekly chart is giving you, but it's giving you from the perspective of more candlesticks. And that's one reason why I don't go down into the 1 hour chart really, because the 1 hour chart to me is too much information when all the information I
mm,
need is going to be on these higher time frames. It's just a matter of patience, if that makes sense. And I'm getting a whole lot less noise. So if the weekly chart is showing me this and I see a potential for a reason to buy and a new trader will buy demand, cool, that makes sense. But it's not that simple because they're forgetting the part of what the main trend is. And the main trend for a US dollar, especially because of the higher time frames, is going to be a sell-off. And as long as this market for the dollar is giving me ascending wedges, I'm going to find a reason to sell that. But then when I do come in contact with a descending wedge, kind of like what it is right here, every single low, no matter if it's an uptrend or downtrend, is going to give you a reason to buy. So why would I sell a descending wedge when that's a low entry and the wedge is telling me that entry is kind of low? But this wedge being a low entry compared to a wedge like right here being a low entry, it's still a low entry, but the 1 hour chart is going to change biases way more than the weekly chart, way more than a daily,
mm.
way more than the 4 hour chart. So I want my sell entries to be as high as possible. And I need to understand that even in consolidation, like this consolidation from here to over here has to break in the direction of trend. And even though it tried to break over here and came back to this level, it still closed where this bias is. It's still underneath these two highs, which is this high and this high. So then it gets back to the basics of first high, second high. Second high closes within the first high, but the first high started the trend. The third high tried to close. It literally went up just a few, like a pip or two above the first high that it gave on the 19th of April 26th, and then decided it was going to fall on the 29th of April. But that's the psych out in the market. But it's like the mindset part is everyone can know technicals and learn technicals because that's the easy part. The mindset part is don't change the way that you trade just because you're in a losing season. And that's what I think I've been really trying to show the world because I've been trading so long. I've never had a season like this one. So I'm just like, dang, what is really going on? If that makes sense. But then it's like I find the importance of it on diamonds get built under pressure, but all the knowledge of learning is gonna be in when the process is building, if that makes sense. So anytime something is not working out in my favor, I can only teach and learn through the losses because by the time there's success on an account, it happens like rapid fire. And because I don't know the timing, I never know when it's going to work out. But at the same time of not knowing when it's going to work out, it's like once the motion of the wheel gets started, it's like pushing a wheel down a hill. Once the wheel starts, it's a stampede. You cannot get in the way of it. So it's just like my mindset is I'm never going to tell the market what it wants to do. I'm going to look and see what it's doing. Is the 4 hour chart making lower lows and lower highs? Is it a dollar pair? Is it an asset? Is it correlate with the dollar? If it correlates with the dollar, like EuroCAD does with USD CAD, then USD CAD and USD CAD I'm sorry, EuroCAD and USD CAD are cousins. Therefore, they are related in the same family. So they might both sell off, but they might sell off at different times. And then you got to factor in the US dollar is one of the most manipulated currencies, just because of news and everything. And it's
Mm.
paired with so many things. It's one of the most manipulated currencies to where if I made a standpoint, like last week, we had the dollar kind of buying and then we had oil buying a little bit. But then it's like, I understand oil is an asset and the dollar it's an asset, but it should not be an asset. And if one of them is not telling the truth, it's the dollar. That's coming from experience of I just been trading so long, so I seen it way back when. But I take that experience I learned, say 3 to 5 to 7 years ago, and then I bring it into here. It's like me collecting Pokemon balls, but I don't know. I just have this ball in my pocket, and then it's like, oh, I know exactly what I could use this for. So it's like it's almost like maintenance. If I'm building something and I have an extra screw and I don't know where this screw goes because I may have moved too fast and then everything is complete, it looks like the picture, but one place is missing the screw, I know exactly where to put the screw to make the
Mm,
foundation more stable. In this case, the foundation of trading, everyone understands the market is buying or selling. Everyone doesn't have the mindset or conviction as to why they're going to hold longer. They don't have the mindset or the conviction to understand why things are happening the way that it does. And everything in my strategy, which it isn't a strategy, it's the entirety of the market because it's the entirety of history, if that makes sense. So when I look at these recession years, if I was young during a recession, and I've never actually seen any of it. The recession years are going to be like, what is the correlation of the dollar? So recessions typically last, I would say 12 to 24 months at the longest. A regular one will be 18 months. And then I always say that COVID was an accelerated one because of the volatility of that groundbreaking news coming out. So the fundamentals pushed COVID into an accelerated session. So at the least, a recession would be 18 months. The longest one was the Great Depression, and that was what, 65 months? That's crazy. But then it's like, okay, I understand the dollar goes down, but the dollar going down is not the only factor into a recession. But by the time they announce a recession, it's too late to announce the recession. But that's why I don't watch the news, because if the news was meant to make you rich, then everyone will be rich. So what they're waiting on by the time that they announce a recession is for all of these Pokemon balls to line up. Everything on the checklist has to check out. So we got the dollar value because I was just looking this up 'cause I was just like, hey, man, like I wonder if like what it was because I was listening to this song from this rapper named Jeezy over here, and he did this song in 2008 with Kanye.